recording right now.
Josh, I'm going to take myself and put myself back on mute.
Perfect, David. I'll call you back on in a little bit. So yeah, this is being recorded. I'm going to be sending, I'll load this recording up to YouTube and send everybody a link. I know some folks can't make it, but you all get brownie points for coming on. It means a lot showing that you have, that you care about compliance, that you care about what's going on in the GSA world. In my experience, that's one of the big indicators of a successful company. I'm not going to take up a lot of your time today. I have a couple things. A lot's been going on, and I wanted to just kind of have a little roundtable and just kind of explain some stuff. Pretty much going to kind of stick to I have some slides to kind of go through the main points. But just the basic format is I'm going to do my talking. I'm going to turn it over to David for a little bit. I think he said it's going to only take about 10 or 15 minutes to get through what he's got to say. He's going to cover federal marketing, which is something I know that, everybody's interested in, and I get asked about it a lot. And as you all know, I don't specialize in that, so I don't try to, give very much advice there. But I finally come across somebody that's good at it. So I'll let him kind of give you a rundown of what he does and how he can help. And you'll definitely learn a lot in the process there too. And then at the end, I'm going to do a Q&A. So I'm going to save that to the end. Feel free to just drop your questions into the chat area, and I'll do my best to get everything answered. So get started. I pretty much know everybody. I think I've talked to everybody on here. I see a lot of names popping up, and they're all really familiar. So I'm Josh. That's the picture of me there. I don't have that beard anymore, but I may be growing it back. We'll see. How I can help, I'm with GSA Focus. I've, had my hand in most of your contracts, getting them acquired, maintaining them. Some of you, we're still in the process of acquiring your contract, and that's fine too. I'm glad you're here. That a lot of this stuff's going to relate to you as well. So I help with modifications. If you have any changes to your contract that are upcoming, adding products or services, changing prices, anything like that, I am here to help with that. Option renewals, which a lot of those have been popping up lately, and they used to be really simple, but not so much anymore. So I'm here to help with those. If let's say you're in you schedule 70, but you start seeing your services leaning towards professional services too, you're thinking about getting another schedule, give me a call and we could talk through that, see if it's a good move for you. Any compliance questions, compliance and general questions I put together. If there's anything I could do to help, I'm here to keep your contract compliant, keep you out of trouble. So what I do is I offer what I call free tech support within reason. If you have a question, if you are in a situation with a buyer and you're kind of not sure which direction to go, loop me in. I'm here to help you. Just make sure that everything's done right, that you end up, getting the contract and not breaking any rules. So just shoot me an email or schedule a time to talk, and we'll get that through. And then mass mods. This one I threw in there because it's coming up a lot lately. I can help with mass mods. You can definitely do them on your own. They take 10, 15 minutes. They're very easy, but don't let them fall behind. And this is kind of my first thing that I wanted to launch into. Mass mods that are uncompleted are actually going to hold up, the process. A lot of contracting officers won't let you submit a modification if you have pending mass mods. They can just cause a lot of trouble. So if you get an email and it's from @gsa.gov, take it seriously. If you're not sure what it is, just send it, forward it over to me, and I can help you out there. Go on over to the next slide. So here's today's agenda, some of the topics I wanted to go through. I'm sure everybody's noticed there's been a lot of GSA emails, a lot of kind of hiccups relating to security and password changes for the Vendor Support Center, for eBuy, all that stuff. I'm going to go over that. TDR, Transactional Data Reporting versus 72A, something that I'm sure a lot of you have come across as well. We'll go into that. A very new thing called order level materials, which Honestly, I don't have my head completely wrapped around it yet. The GSA has a vague web page on that, but it's not by any means, complete. But I did want to kind of breeze over that a little bit. SIP is down, and that's a frowny face because that's a bad thing. SIP is the tool that I use on my end to upload everything into GSA Advantage, into GSA eLibrary. So the fact that it's been down for almost a month, and it had a little period there where it was working again, is throwing a lot of sand in the gears. So talk about that a little bit, and then the SAM mess, which I'm sure has touched a couple of you. Then we're going to go right over to DN Consulting and give David the floor, followed by Q&A. So first, security changes. This is that email that I'm sure everybody got. You should have received this. Just like, Facebook, I kind of blame Facebook for this. They had the whole privacy issue thing. I think the GSA saw that as their opportunity to kind of jump into this as well. So they are making everybody reset their passwords. So this is really important. And the main thing here is we all have to work together. I don't have the ability to reset your password for you because somebody in the company is the one that's the main point of contact. So we all have to work together on this one. If you've reset your password already and you're pretty sure you haven't sent it to me, please send me an email and just say, hey, Josh, this is my new password. I need it to access SIP. I need it to access vendor support center and from time to time it comes up and it's something I need. So I'll have to change that in my database. If you haven't changed your password, then go ahead and just go to, let's see, probably the VSE website. I think vse.gsa.gov/FAS. But really, you could try to do anything in it and you'll get that message that pops up and routes you over to reset your password. If you have any trouble on that, just let me know. Transactional data reporting is a somewhat new thing. I say new, but it's been around and talked about for 2 or 3 years now. And basically, a lot of you that have had contracts for a while, that you report your sales quarterly, your GSA sales, not your federal sales, not your overall sales, just the sales that go through GSA. And that's through the 72A system. And that's kind of the old way to do things. And it's still around, still in use. I'm not telling you that there's any sort of replacement going on here. But the GSA is trying to migrate over to transactional data reporting. It's a new tool. And instead of just submitting your general figures, SIN 13251, I sold 100,000 in this quarter. Instead of that, it's a breakdown of each transaction. So it kind of runs that, kind of does it that way. You should know which reporting system you are to report to. And if you don't know, shoot me an email. We'll figure it out. Or you could do it yourself. I kind of created this, tdr.gsa.gov. You go to the contractor login, accept, and then if you see your contract number in there, then you are TDR. Otherwise, you can go to the 72a.gsa.gov site, and your login will probably pop up, and or maybe you have it on a post-it next to your computer. You just go in there, and if everything looks as though you should be reporting, then that's where you should report. But if you have any confusion on this, just let me know. The only other thing I have to say here about this is that the GSA is starting to kind of push folks towards TDR. So what I mean by that is on the newer contracts especially, they kind of give you a decision. Do you want to go with the old way or the new way? You can decide, but in the end, there's coming up in probably the next few months something that's going to kind of force you to either lose your contract or go over to TDR. So it looks like it's sticking around, and it looks like that's the way that the GSA is really trying to push everybody. Order level materials, like I said, it's very, very new. Don't have a lot of information. There is a very general web page that the GSA has. I haven't gone to the trouble of looking into the links and the FAR clauses and the GSAR clauses or anything like that. But the long story short is, for these schedules that I have listed here, 03FAC, 56, 70, 71, 84, 00 Corp, and 738X. There's going to be a new SIN that appears soon. It's going to be the OLM SIN. And it's basically the GSA's alternative to open market items on a contract. So instead of, let's say when you submit a proposal and you have your group of GSA items and you have your group of open market items, I don't think the GSA likes that they're not getting the industrial funding fee for those open market items, and I think this is a response to that, so that they can get more money. But it does kind of help you out too. Of course, you're paying that. Well, you're not paying that little bit more money. The end user is, but it does allow you to use more of your GSA contract, and that can help you in a lot of offer situations. Just got a message here from Steve. Yeah, I'm going to send the slides out as well. Send the slides, and I'll also send this recording. So thanks, Steve. You're welcome. Here is just the most important rundown I pulled off their website. Prices for OLMs are not established in the scheduled contract or BPA. So that means the prices aren't going to be like how they are typically in a GSA acquisition or a mod, where they're negotiated. They're just going to be as they are, as you see fit, and it's up to the end user, the buyer, to establish them as fair and reasonable. Basically what the next part says. So SIP is down. That's a bad thing. They keep coming up with this TCP connection error on a very important upload window, and things just kind of stall out. So I'm calling the SIP help desk just about every day. I'm checking multiple times a day to see if this problem is resolved. Just on my own with the software, trying to upload things and seeing if it's working. I will let you know. I know a lot of my customers out there are waiting on uploads. They're waiting on downloads. So there's a side door, and it exists, but it's not super reliable. It's kind of if you really, really need something in there, then I could do it that way, or try to. But it's kind of the path of I don't want to call it the path of no return, but once that goes in there, everything is very dark. I can't see what's going on like I can with the SIP software. So if there's an emergency and you need something to show up on GSA Advantage, you're going to lose a big sale. That's what I'm talking about. Let me know. I'll work through that side door to try to get it on there. Otherwise, I'd say the best thing to do is kind of just wait, and next time it opens up, I'm going to get everything through as quickly as I can, just because that window closed last time and I didn't expect it to. So, all right, now coming up is the SAM mess. I'm sure everybody's been touched by this. If not, then you will be. Everybody's probably noticed that there are a lot of spam emails going out from companies saying that they can help you get on SAM. They can help you, yeah, David. They can help you get on SAM. They can help you update. Oh, your SAM record's about to expire. You need help. And they all look really official, as though they're coming from SAM or the GSA or somebody from the government, but they're actually coming from companies, and they're charging, I don't know, $50, $300, all different prices to have you do this thing that, oh no, Amber, you can't hear. Can anybody hear? Okay. Let me know if you can hear, please, in the chat. Okay, Scott, you can hear. Okay, Amber, let's see. Just send a message out to Amber, who can't hear anymore. So hopefully she could get back on. With SAM, I mean, I wanted to bring it to everybody's attention to look out for it, because if you have your SAM record expiring, or even if you don't have one yet and you need to get your SAM record in place, it's going to take a lot longer than it used to. I mean, it used to take 2 weeks. So it involves a notarized letter now. That letter they're kind of vague about if that letter is, good, a usable template or not. So you could go through the whole process, get it notarized, send it in, and then they come back and say, we don't like your template. I can't help much here because it's Sam. You're the one that has to agree to everything, get everything plugged in. But I have a template that I've been working with that seems to be good. If you need it, just email me and I'll send that over to you. Sam doesn't offer up a template. They offer up, several paragraphs describing a template. But things can still go wrong. All right. Thanks, Mary and Keith, for letting me know you could hear. Appreciate it. And that's all I got right there. So David is going to take over. David, all you got to do here is, I think it's *6, and you can talk. As David starts talking, if everybody could just say, hey, I hear David, because I believe he dialed in on the right line to
and I think I'm on.
Here.
Can you hear me, Josh?
All right. I can hear you okay.
Right.
Can everybody out there hear?
Let me switch over to the chat, make sure that everybody can hear me. Yeah, there we go. Very good. Well, thank you all. I want to thank Joshua, first of all, for allowing me to speak with his clients. And thank you all for spending a little time with us this morning. My name is David Neal, the managing partner for David Neal Consulting. And think of Josh and myself as almost like peanut butter and jelly, or Starsky and Hutch, if you're a little old school like I am. I don't do what Josh does, and Josh doesn't do what I do. And so we really go together very well. Josh, if you can go to the next slide. So I'll just give you a little bit of my background. I have over 12 years of experience selling to the federal government. And really, for the most part, my experience or my niche has been working for small businesses. I worked for 3 8A companies, 2 were women-owned companies, and 1 was even a Native American company. And after 10 years of doing that, my wife really convinced me that I should go out and work for myself. And then my passion really was to help small, minority, women-owned, veteran-owned businesses sell to the federal government. So I see everybody is typing in on the chat. It would be interesting as we go throughout this discussion, just a few minutes, just type down maybe whatever status you have. Are you a woman-owned small business? Are you a veteran-owned small business? Are you in the 8A program? That I'm just curious as to find out which kind of clientele we have here. Okay, Josh, go on to the next slide. And so in my experience in selling to the federal government, I like to consider myself a grunt. I'm a guy who's been in the trenches. When I was first a director of business development, I had worked at Xerox, actually, with the gentleman. He left Xerox. I left Xerox. He started his own business. He called me back. I went and sold phone systems for a few years. He called me back into his business. We got together. But I really had to figure it out. And so the first contract I ever got, I still remember my contracting officer. Her name was Kara Annette Fleming. I answered a sources sought for the Department of Interior, for the Bureau of Reclamation. We ended up getting a really, really nice sell. And then that led to 2 more sales. But because we answered that sources sought and we started building that relationship, that led to almost $3 million worth of work within about 4 years. So we were very, very excited to get that. But I've sold to the GSA, Department of Interior. I've sold to Commerce, both to NOAA and to the Census Bureau, EPA, the State Department, the Refugee Processing Center, and the Naval Air Warfare Center. And I've sold everything from widgets to professional services. And when I say widgets, printers, copiers, phone systems, software. I have a litany of software products that I've sold to the federal government. And then since I started my own business, so I should say, while I was working for the 3 small businesses, they were all pretty much centered around IT. But then when I started my own business 2 years ago, I have a client that sells pumps, valves, gauges to the federal government, another client that does leadership uh, consulting for the federal government. So I've diversified, selling a lot of different things. But let's go on to the next slide. Now I'm a sports fan, and if you're looking at this slide right now, hopefully you're not a Cleveland Cavaliers fan. I do happen to be a Warriors fan, but I love the caption, and I captured this snapshot. LeBron James, who arguably is the best player in the world right now. I'm still a Michael Jordan fan myself, but I love the caption. LeBron James, dazed and confused as his teammates' game one mistake leads to they lost that first game. They got swept, and he lost another championship series. And my point being with this is all of you are great. And I'm seeing some of you saying, yes, you're a woman-owned small business, a small business, veteran-owned. That's great. And you might be experts. You might even be the best at what you're selling. But even the greatest people and greatest players need help. And really, that's where David Neal Consulting comes in. LeBron James thought he was going to get help from his teammate, J.R. Smith, and J.R. Smith let him down. I used this slide with the client that I have, and they totally agreed. And we were focused a little bit more on the upcoming fourth quarter and how we don't want to let time slip. And so we put together a very aggressive marketing plan for them. Go ahead to the next slide. And so what I do, and like I said, I'm going to be working with Josh. You guys are all Josh's clients. We're going to be offering some federal business development help if that's what you would like. But I basically boil it down to a 4-step selling process. Oh, screen, there we go. And I have it very simple here. Identifying ACE codes is number one. Going to federal procurement data systems, targeting the top 3 to 4 agencies, then going to the procurement forecast. We'll look 12 to 18 months out. And then from there, we'll build relationships with the small business reps. Now, I just summed that up in just a matter of seconds, really. But this has been my strategy for success. We go in depth on all of these different levels, and we're able to answer some highly important questions. And one of the questions I always ask my clients, the people that I'm working with, is, do you know the top agency who's buying your NACE code? Do you know who your competitor is? Do you know if do they have agreements already in place? So most of you all out there have your schedules, whether it's a 70 or a 36. Well, some agencies are only going to buy either off a GWAC or a GSA schedule. So you've got to know all of these things. And maybe you've done that, and that's great. What I do, though, is pinpointed, targeted marketing for this. And really, when we get to the last point, build relationships with the small business reps, I try to empower and then educate my clients. I was looking at and listening to Josh talk, and on the compliance side, on the GSA schedule side, you've got to have somebody like that in your corner. You really have to have an expert. That's not what I do. Again, that's not what I do. I am targeted, pinpoint, federal business development. I consider myself an expert in working with my clients on really helping them find, create opportunities and business relationships. And when you approach a contracting officer or a program manager or a small business development rep for the federal government, and you sit down with them and you know that agency's mission statement, you know their goals, you know their percentages, you know what's coming up on the forecast. You've identified 3 to 4 opportunities. And then when you sit down and explain, not only give them your capability statement, but then you back that up with what you can do and what you have done. That is what impresses them. And then because you have small business set aside status, then you can go after the sole sources. You can go after a source of sought. You can create your own opportunity within the federal government. So there's a lot of advantages to having an expert on your side, and hope you don't end up like LeBron James with your hands out looking at your teammate. Hopefully you'll be on the winning side. Go ahead, Josh, to the next slide. So I've got a couple of tools, websites that I use. And this one is specifically for the GSA. I don't know if you're familiar with this website. Everybody's usually familiar with federal procurement data systems. But one of the questions, one of the things that my clients are always wondering and worried about is, are their rates aggressive enough, and are they competitive enough? Well, there's a website called Calc that helps you look at awarded contracts and see what was the rate at which that they won. I think there's another slide as well, Josh, if you want to go to the next slide. Oh, yeah, the sales query. This is an excellent website from the GSA. This one really will help you start to see, look, plan, where do you want to go? Why do you need to go here? How to keep my prices competitive. And a lot of you might already have a federal sales team, and that's great. I don't want to take over. Again, I just am a pinpoint expert marksman when it comes to finding and doing your federal business development. So those are just a couple of tools. I use a lot of other tools. And I do it two ways. I can either empower you and your team, or a lot of people bring me on board to actually do their federal business development for them. Like I said, I'll be working with Josh. And that's one of the things that we sat down and we talked about. We've had ongoing conversations because we want to help his clients, now that they have their GSA schedules, then grow their business. Go ahead to the next slide. And that's really all I had. I will say this, don't fail to plan. Act now with time running out. The fourth quarter is here. And Josh, that's all I had. If there's any other questions or we can talk offline, that would be great. Thank you all for this opportunity to speak today.
All right, I'm back. I don't see any questions that came up or anything. If you have any, just let me know. I'll stay on for a few minutes here. Just to kind of close things out with David, you know, if it sounds like something you're interested in, you want to hear more, or you know, you want to kind of hear his take on your business's your kind of position and your situation, and see if he has any specific ideas on how he can help. Just shoot me an email and I'll set up a meeting. And that's kind of, you know, how to take the first steps there. But yep, looks like everybody's questions are answered. Glad you came on today. Thank you so much. Hope you have a good, you know, kind of Friday and a great weekend. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all, everybody. Thank you.
Take care. I'm going to sign off now.